It's only one day now without you by my side. My world feels empty now, the pain builds up inside. I tried so many times to imagine that you're here. Pretend you're coming back, pretend that you're still near. But there's no use now, you've moved on. But just remember this, you got a piece of my heart. So please remember me, my love. Don't ever wash away those tears we both cried. And as we go our separate ways, I remember you each day. And maybe one day you'll return with my broken heart. Another lonely day, another sleepless night. I wonder what you're feeling and who's now by your side. I wish I could have changed the way the story goes, rewrite my life with you, and whisper one more time, amore mio, sei tu. 'Cause it's not easy to move on while I'm still so lost in you. You've got a piece of my heart, so please remember me, my love. Don't ever wash away those tears we both cried. And as we go our separate ways, I remember you each day. And maybe one day you'll return with my broken heart. This part of mine belongs to you. You're so deep inside my soul. When two hearts beat as one, don't ever let go. Baby, just remember this. You've got a piece of my heart. Remember my love. We both cried. And as we go our separate ways, I remember each day you return. One day you'll return. Maybe one day you've got a piece of my heart. So please remember me, my love. Don't ever wash away those tears we both cried. And as we go, so never wash away those tears. Each day of my life, one day you'll return, one day you'll return, you day in my life. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
Hello everyone, Giada Valenti here. How are you guys? 98 days together non-stop today. 2 days more and we are celebrating 100 days together with something I don't know what is coming up, but something amazing. How are you guys? 2 p.m. in Las Vegas, of course. No news, sunny, shiny. It's very hot. Hot also in my office because, you know, we have to shut off the air conditioning every time we go live. So it's getting hot here in half an hour as well. 5 p.m. for you guys. I see a lot of you there already waiting from the East Coast, New York City. I saw South Carolina people. I saw Central United States, which is 4 p.m. for you guys in Chicago. I see always a lot of you. Buonasera, quasi buonanotte per voi che ci guardate dall'Italia perché sono le 23 della notte, 22 Ireland in England. Guys, I see you, I see Antonio and a few more over there. And first, good morning. I've learned good morning to Australia. I've never been to Australia, but we have many people that wake up either at 5 in the morning or 7 to be with us, and it's been part of the circle of love in sign language for 88 days. Well, we learned also yesterday that actually in South Africa, we had some people from South Africa, and it's midnight over there. Probably because they are below Italy, so they are 1 hour even later than Italy. So good night to you guys over there. I think I didn't forget anybody in the world. And if you're watching from a place that I haven't mentioned, please let me know what time is there and how are you doing, guys. Today it's an amazing day, 98 days together, and my guest, you are gonna love him. I loved him since I met him just by coincidence, maybe I would say 2 years ago when I was living in Santa Clarita, near outside LA, and we had we will be talking about like a funny encounter, me and him. I mean, he's humble, he's kind, but you know me. I was born and raised in Venice, Italy. I came here like 15 years ago. I still have to discover so much about the American music history because he's music history. He's a legend, and me, I was like, oh, nice to meet you. Who are you, sir? And the rest is history, because then I was like, damn, you're really blonde. The color, the bleach went on my brain because I should have known. But hey, now I know everything about you. I know you guys have been, I've been telling last week that he was my guest and you were all excited. So today we're going to know, of course, the man behind the music history he made. Ron Dante. Yes, he's Italian, and we will be talking also, as always, with my guest about their love for Italy, Italian heritage, if they have one, and food and cooking. But let me read one, if there is out there somebody that just like me are like, who is Ron Dante? Well, he's one, I'm reading here because I found on the internet recently, he said he's one of the most remarkable and interesting successful music career. He has one of the most remarkable and successful career in music history. And many people said careers, and you will understand in a second why. So Ron Dante is of course a distinguished producer for many decades, and is widely known in the world as the producer of the one and only, our beloved Barry Manilow, from whom he has produced all the Barry's platinum LPs and 18 top 10 singles from 1973 through 1981. You remember Mandy? We will be talking about it. It was Ron Dante and Barry Manilow. But he also had produced many other major recording artists we all love, including Cher, the Queen, Dionne Warwick, Pat Benatar. You remember I started as a rock singer. Pat Benatar was one of my idols. Irene Cara, yes, Ray Charles, and John Denver. You know my love for country music. We remember Ron Dante, of course, also as the lead singer from the Archies. You guys at least know. Me, I never watched the Archies, but I know the song Sugar Sugar. By the way, there was Songs of the Year in 1969. They beat out of the charts the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Sugar, sugar, doo-doo. You remember? Amazing. But Ron actually has also been the ghost voice of many things that we know his voice and we don't know it was him. Like I found out that he was also in a band called the Cufflinks, and they had also a hit in 1969 called Tracy. I'm sure you guys remember it. But before the Archies, Ron has been a member of the Detergents. We have to talk about it because I like this one. I Detergenti. It's incredible. And they had a hit in every time he does something, they had a major hit in 1965. So even before the Archies, they had a parody song called Leader of the Laundromat. It's amazing. We have to talk about it. And of course, you may not know, but you heard the voice of Ron in many, many, many American commercials. One of the most famous is You Deserve a Break Today, from the McDonald's. Well, theaters also know a success for Ron because he produced Hand Misbehaving, which earned him a Tony for Best Musical, and Children of a Lesser God, which took the Tony also for. He also, in recent year, we are all happy, he picked up his passion for really performing live on stages and recording and producing again. He lives in LA now, where he's going to be appearing from today. I was blessed and lucky, as I said, to meet him at these little auditions we both did. Can you believe it? Ron Dante doing an audition, but it was kind of an audition in Santa Clarita. And I remember introducing myself. He complimented me after I sang a song, and of course, he had his guitar. He's a very handsome man, and then he said, "Oh well, you may not know, but do you know the song Sugar Sugar?" I was like, "Yeah, well, it was me." "And do you know Barry Manilow?" "Yes, it was me." I was like, my goodness, he's humble, he's kind, he's amazing, he's fun, he's Italian, and the most important thing, he said yes to the interview and he's here today with us. Ron, are you there? There you are. How are you, my friend?
Hi. How are you today?
I'm doing great, even better now that I see your smiling face.
Thank you. It's really hot there, isn't it?
Yes, well, you're not far from me here in California. You are in Beverly Hills?
Yes. It's beautiful out here. I was born in New York City, but I really love it out in the West Coast is great. It's great.
I guess
it's nice to be here with you.
Thank you for being my guest. I mean, let's start from the beginning because I have to read here your real name. I didn't know that. What is your real name? Because you have really an Italian name, Carmine.
Yes, my real first name is Carmine. My last name is Granito, and we come from the south of Italy. And Campobasso was where my grandparents were born, and they immigrated here in the early 1900s. And they populated Staten Island, New York, with tons of Granitos and Caputos. My mom's maiden name was Caputo. So she had 4 sisters. My dad had 7 brothers, and they all populated Staten Island. And none of them really sang professionally, but I did.
I found a beautiful picture JJ will show in a second. Your mother was very beautiful. So yeah, beautiful lady. Look how elegant, and look at you, Ron. Which occasion was that picture taken?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Easter, because every year at Easter time I would get my one suit a year. My dad and mom would take me to get my little suit or my sport jacket, and I wore it right through Christmas and New Year's. But it was great to be in that picture. My mom was very, very beautiful, and God bless Gloria's soul.
You know what? You just said something that hits me. Even I can recognize the pictures when I was a little girl for what I was wearing. I knew if it was at holidays because this tradition that you just mentioned that on Easter we were getting something for the summer and the spring. We had it in Italy too. So you see, it's really an Italian thing, DNA kind of thing. So
very much what we do. We're very family, and it all centers around Mama.
Oh, yeah.
Let's face it, Mama was the center of our universe as kids growing up.
And especially you are a boy, so Mama boys, Italian mamas, they said, hey, we love the girls, but the boys.
Yeah, no, my mom was a big fan, and so was my dad, Philip. He was a big fan and they both supported my career right from the beginning. They said, when I first had a guitar, they supported what I did.
Can you tell us actually, what was my question? Nobody so in your family was a professional musicians, but they were music lover. How did you discover your talent and how did you start to play and sing and everything?
I was really influenced by Elvis Presley and the late 50s artists like the Everly Brothers and, of course, Chuck Berry and, Fats Domino and all these people. And it's funny, I wasn't going to be a musician until I was about 13. I fell out of a tree. I was playing Tarzan and I busted my arm up. Oh, yeah. And the doctor said it was going to be stiff the rest of your life if you didn't exercise it every day. So he said you can either squeeze a ball or take up an instrument. So because I was a big fan of Elvis, I took up guitar, and that changed my life.
We are happy you didn't took the potatoes and you were squeezing it in. I mean, we are happy we have Ron Dante. So I had a few weeks ago my guest, Tony Orlando. And I know you guys must have met in New York City, right? Can you tell us how did you start your career? Because you started your career as a backup singer and doing all these kind of ghost voice back. You're a genius in the studio. You must be a genius in the studio. Tell us.
I just took to it very easily. The first day I was signed to a publishing contract for a guy named Don Kirshner, who was very famous in the 70s. Anyway, they're a publishing company, and he signed me as a young teenager. And the day I walked in, I found there was Tony Orlando standing there, and Neil Sedaka and Carole King, all these famous people. And it was amazing. It was amazing. Tony was very kind to me. He welcomed me he said, you're going to be the staff demo maker, meaning everybody else would write songs, and I would sing either lead or backgrounds for their demos. And that's where I learned how to use my voice in many ways, harmonize with myself, and, just have the best time. It was like college. It was like going to college in that publishing company. And of course, it just springboarded me into all kinds of things. Of course, New York was the place to be during those years. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was the Brill Building, right? Would you say that meeting Don Kirshner was like something that really changed your career, that really gave them a different input? Because I think even the Archies came through Don, right?
You're absolutely right. He was a game changer. When he believed in somebody, they could go on and become famous or be successful. And he believed in me at 17 years old. He said, I'm going to sign you a publishing deal. He said, you'll write songs when you can, but I want you to do backgrounds and stuff for everybody else and sing their leads. But he was the one I owe my career to. Don Kirshner was a great man.
Yeah, so are you. Through Tony Orlando, I got to meet Tony Wine, which until yesterday, I didn't know she was together with you in the Archies, right? She did both. You did a vocal, only the singing vocals, right, of Archies, and she did both the girls.
Yes, on Sugar Sugar, she sang all the backgrounds with me, and then there was a couple of lead parts in the middle section. I'm gonna make your life so sweet. Doesn't she look a little bit like Veronica?
That was my question to you. Actually, you too. You look like Archie. So my question is, I don't know if I couldn't find on the internet. Did they got inspiration for you too? Because you're both so good looking, like the Archies.
Thank you very much. No, it was just an accident, because the Archies were around when even before I was born. The Archie comics were around. They were around in the 40s and things and 50s. So when they decided to do this TV show in 1969, I got the call from Don Kirshner again, and he said, come on up and audition for the lead of Archie. And I went up to the studio in New York City, and I auditioned, and I got the job. There he is, there he is right there. I got the job of Archie. And it was great, because I grew up on loving Betty and Veronica and the Archie comics as a little kid. So I knew all about them. But Don Kirshner was a genius at this, and he put together the best songwriting teams. Of course, Miss Tony Wine there went on to write one of the biggest hits of all time, called Groovy Kind of Love. I mean, it was a hit twice, in different generations, different decades.
It's funny that you mentioned. I always thought that the Groovy Kind of Love was a Phil Collins song. Look at me, and I'm a huge fan. And 2 years ago, I went to see Tony Orlando. I met Tony White, and during the concert, she mentioned that there's me and Tony last year, and because she's an amazing woman, and because of that, she said that the song was inspired by a sonatina of Maurizio Clementi. 2 months later, I was doing my debut at Carnegie Hall, which was a night of Italian American tribute, and I did a Groovy Kind of Love because Tony is not Italian, I guess, but she was inspired by an Italian song, so a piece of music. So she's amazing.
Yes, she was very much into the Puerto Rican culture, also the Latino culture, because she almost married a Latino man when she turned 18. But she was a talented girl. I love the melody of Groovy Kind of Love, because you can play it on the piano. Da 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 da. Play it. It's very simple, but it's genius. Her and Carol Bayer Sager, who wrote the lyric, was very famous. You know her.
Yes, I know her.
Very famous, beautiful songwriter. They wrote a great classic, and of course Tony Wine wrote Candida for Tony Orlando.
For Tony, yeah.
But I don't know if people know that she when she got married, when she said our first baby is going to be called Candida.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, yes.
Did she do it at the end?
So marriage broke up. Sorry, I don't mean to out Tony about this, but she probably would say it at some point. Yeah. Sorry, Tony.
Sorry, Tony, we're talking about. Well, next life she's gonna have a candida. There we go. She's one of the sweetest. That you know what I'm always saying. I think all of you people from that generation, you were music because you made American music history, and I like the fact that you are all so kind and friends with each other and with the feet on the ground. So because I mean, you have a career that we were talking a second. Every musicians will dream about it, and still, you are still enjoying every bit of everything. You're kind. You still do. We did an auditions, me and you, to getting work in a cruise. I mean, come on, me I understand, but you.
I just love cruising. I am a big fan of the cruise ship shows. I will do it in a minute. I've done 6 or 7 over the years. Our good friend, I want to shout out to Mike Maloney,
Yes.
who does the greatest cruise ship shows in the world. He set that up. Anything Mike asks me, I always do because he's a close friend. And if he says this is good, then I go do it. And I was happy to meet you at that audition.
Yes.
And you're a beautiful singer, and you know your career should go right to the top.
Well, I'm dreaming of your career. So let's say if there is a young kid watching there, Ron, what would you say it's been the secret of your success? Because basically we're going to be talking also about commercials and of course Barry Manilow. Anything you have approached has been successful. What do you think made you successful? Luck or just you have something that you can share with us?
You know, I kind of built on what came before. I started as a singer-songwriter. I learned how to produce records. I watched the greatest producers in the world, right in the booth, right in the studio with these great producers. I wrote with great songwriters. So I was very fortunate. This is a picture of me in Miami doing my first album, and it was arranged by my friend Paul Schaefer. And that's I'm just fooling around with the drums. But there were some great times. I always say, build on what came before and make it your own, and then make it better. I've also been exposed to, there's my friend Paul.
Yeah.
I just say I've been very fortunate to be in the right place, the right time, and I was prepared. And preparation, as you know, you're a performer, preparation is probably the secret key to the success, because the opportunities don't come along that often, but when they do, if you're prepared, you can take advantage and move on and move up. And I always thought I can do many things. I don't have to be just a singer. I can actually have other things going. I can paint. I can write music. I can produce other singers. See, a lot of my friends who were singers didn't want to get involved with other singers. They were a little jealous. Oh. But I got involved with different people. These are early shots of me in the studio. Yeah, I just was never jealous. I wanted my friends to succeed. So I always had a lot of fun producing other good singers. That's it. And that's the way my career has always blossomed. And I just keep learning. You know, you can't stay stuck. Don't stay stuck. I always say, try something new. Say yes first, and then learn it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I like that you share these kind of things, because I think it's also now with COVID-19, so many people I've interviewed that they had your attitude. They are reinventing themselves, and they're always going to be successful in no matter what they do, because they never think they have arrived. They still have, there is something more for me to learn, which I think, thank you for sharing this, Ron. It's beautiful, and I can see the comments of people. Of course, everybody want me to ask you, how did you, because I read and I know, but how did you get to meet Barry Manilow, one of your dearest friends, and basically all the music, that successful one he made, it's thanks to you, but you took him away from a singer and you made him Barry Manilow. Can you share with us that story? It's beautiful.
Yes, Barry and I are close friends, and we had a wonderful working relationship for 10 years. When I met him, he was singing commercials and working with Bette Midler as our piano player producer. He was producing some of our albums with Arif Mardin, very famous record producer. Anyway, Barry and I did a commercial together. I was hired to sing one of his spots with Melissa Manchester and Valerie Simpson and Barry Manilow and I as the background group for this Pepsi. It was a Pepsi spot. What a great background group, right?
Mamma mia, yeah.
So Barry knew my credits. He said, I know you've done Sugar Sugar and you write, I also sing tons of commercials. He said, I want to be a soloist. I have some great songs. Why don't you come listen to them? So I did. And he played me 3 or 4 of his new tunes, including I Am Your Child and Sweet Life. And then he played me Could It Be Magic?
Oh, I love that.
I heard Could It Be Magic Come? I said, oh, this is a major star. So I took him into the studio. We worked. We did a showcase in New York for record company presidents at a place called the Continental Baths, which was a men's bathhouse. But it was great. We brought in all these straight record producers, and all the men were in back of him having fun. But one of the labels, both labels, wanted to sign him. Atlantic Records wanted him, but I advised him to go with a smaller label so he could be the king of the label, Bell Records. And that became Arista Records in about a year later when Clive Davis took over. So that's how we met. That's Clive Davis on the right.
Yes.
That's, of course, Barry in the middle. That's me in my tuxedo. And that's our platinum albums from our second albums, I think. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was a wonderful run, and Barry, 40 years later, is still packing them in Las Vegas when he plays there, and the world. And he sounds as young as he always has. He sounds like a 20-year-old.
I went to see him in Las Vegas maybe 2 years ago, where he has a residency, and I've never seen Barry Manilow live. And I was an instant fan. Like you said, I don't know how old he is, but he can be 25 years old. He still does it with so much love and passion. Like you. You still love music the same way you did it when you were a kid of 13, because you started at 13, right, Ron? So, I mean...
Yes, I did. That's right. I had a group at 13. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were called the Persuaders.
I like all these names. Listen, the Persuaders, then you had this one, the Detergents. Can we talk about the Detergents?
You know, that was an accident. A good friend of mine's uncle wrote a itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini named Paul Vance. He had this idea to do a parody of one of the big hits of the years by the Shangri-Las called Leader of the Pack. And he called it Leader of the Laundromat. And Danny and I, my friend Danny Jordan and Tommy Wynn, we went in and put our voices on. And I never heard the finished product because we did it in 5 or 6 sections. So I never heard the whole thing. About 3 weeks later, it was on the radio, and it was a top 10 record. And we went out and toured with this novelty record. It was so funny. My friend Tommy Wynn sang the lead. I did all the backgrounds. But we toured with Dick Clark's Caravan of Stars for about a year. And I met a bunch of friends that I still have, like Peter Noon, different people, Little Anthony, Freddie Cannon, all these great 60s stars. They're still friends of mine.
That's all your career it's amazing, and I can always see that everything you have done was just you were there, like you said, you were prepared and ready to go. But you are a very talented singer, because I have recorded many records myself. I do my backup vocals, but I know it's I'm talking actually sometimes with people that are wannabe singers or are studying to be singers. I mean, did you ever took lessons? Because to harmonize and do USD falsetto, you can sing really in all the different octaves. Did you, was a natural talent, or did you study? Did you took classes for?
I just reason I knew so much about backgrounds and harmonies was there was a type of music called doo-wop music in the 50s, late 50s, early 60s, based on the East Coast, New York, Philly, and Boston. And I was lucky to be in New York, and I would put together these doo-wop groups, and we'd sing in subway stations, ferry terminals, bathrooms that had great acoustics. Right? I once got caught singing in the bathroom in high school with my group, and they called my father, and they said, "Your son's singing in the bathroom." And my father said, "Why are you calling me? That's what he's going to do with his life, is be a singer. So leave me alone, and leave him alone." But
God bless your father.
So I learned harmonies.
Yeah.
I learned the way stack harmonies, high, low, mid. Those doo-wop harmonies serve even today.
Oh.
The same kind of voicings will work today as they did in 1960. It's an amazing thing.
You're right. Ever since I live in Las Vegas now for 2 years, I went to see the Lettermans. I guess only one of them is the original amazing gentleman, but the harmony, the way the harmony, chapeau, They are amazing. It's incredible. I have to ask you something. You produce also something we share. I am I adore her. How was it to work with Cher? And which record did you do with her?
You know, I worked on the Take Me Home album,
Ah.
the one where she's almost naked on the cover with the
Oh, yeah.
antlers like this. You know,
See,
she-
we know.
Yes, I actually produced one of her most personal songs called Too Far Gone. It's a beautiful ballad on the album that she wrote about her husband, who she had separated from and was divorced from, Greg Allman. And it was all about how difficult it was to live with an addict. But it was a beautiful song,
Oh.
and she sings it impeccably. Cher was a dream to work with. She was the best. She'd come in early and stay late. Then she'd take me home to her Malibu house and play me videos of her and things that she wanted to do with her career. She wanted to be on Broadway. She wanted to be in movies. So I really got a good feel for what kind of a person she was. She was the nicest person I ever worked with and the easiest vocal. She was a very strong vocal. She knew her sound, and she knew how to make her sound. She would come into the studio with like a bunch of beer at like 11 or 12 o'clock during the day, and she'd sip this Coors beer during the day to keep her voice lubricated and keep her feeling good. And by 6 or 7 o'clock, we had the vocal takes. So it was a pleasure working with her. As it is, you work with great vocalists like Barry Manilow or Cher, or even Pat Benatar, who's a really good, one of the finest rock and roll voices around.
Yeah, I sing love songs now, but I always make fun of myself because I started in Italy as a rock singer. I love rock music. After jazz, I sang with classical, then I went to jazz and then rock. And Pat Benatar is always, she's the queen of rock. I found a picture of you guys in the studio there. Look at you. And
I
that's
am
Pat
intense. Look how intense I am.
Yes.
Right above me is Paul Schaefer, who arranged the sides for us that we did with Pat.
Cool.
That session we did Heartbreaker and You Better Run, and an unreleased cut called Cryin', the old Roy Orbison song Cryin'. She did a really fabulous vocal, but it was too straight for the record company. They wanted her to be more of a rocker, so they didn't release it. I still have it. I'll put it on Facebook
Oh,
someday.
please do. A song of Pat Benatar we never heard. So you produce Heartbreaker, Sweet Meg. Did you produce that one? Oh, it
Yes,
was one
yes.
of my favorite.
Yeah.
You see, guys, there are many things. I mean, that's another thing that it's so fascinating about you, Ron. That we don't know, but we heard your voice in so many things. Can we go back in time and tell you when you started to write all those commercials? I mean, all the people, you guys in America, you have heard Ron singing in. Can you make like in 2 seconds? Which commercial was your voice? I mean, come on.
Well, I was a jingle singer, which they call commercial singers
Yes.
in New York City for about 10, 15 years. And I worked with the finest jingle writers. I very rarely wrote a commercial because you can't be the writer and the singer sometimes and work for other companies.
Yeah.
So I just became the singer. But I did You Deserve a Break Today, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, Coke, Budweiser. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Joy's got nuts, Mounds don't. So I was on a bunch of commercials, and it was a very fruitful commercial career because you didn't have to leave New York City to do commercials. Once in a while, we went to Chicago and did some commercials, but 99% of them were done in the New York studios for those great Madison Avenue jingle writers like Steve Carman and a guy named Joe Brooks, Susan Hamilton. They were like, if you look these names up, they were legendary.
Yeah, yesterday when I was, as I said, I even didn't know, sorry, Ron, when I met you, who you were. Now, of course, I know everything. And yesterday when I was digging into your life, I mean, you work with everybody who really made the music history of this country. And you know what I like? That I still like to these days, there's so much Italian influence. People of Italian heritage in the music, either Italian or Jewish. I don't know what it is. So, but which bring me to a connection. So you are Italian. Have you ever been to Italy, Ron?
I have been there. I've toured all the cities from Florence to Naples. Naples is where my original family is from. My grandmothers and grandfathers all came from that surrounding area. Campobasso is one of the cities that the Granitos and the Caputos came from. But they were all here by 1910. And populating the place. You know, Italian singers have always done very, very well. There's something about Italian singers. When I started, of course, there was Fabian, there was Bobby Rydell,
Yeah.
there was Frankie Avalon, there was Lou Christie. If you name them, they're all Italian. They all have thick Italian names
Yeah.
for their last names, and they were just beautiful. Ever since Frank Sinatra, it was like Al Martino and all the
Oh.
great singers from the '50s. Vic Damone. It's amazing how many came along and made hits and created legends for themselves. But Frankie and Bobby and the Golden Boys are still out there.
It's true.
Pack them in.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
And you mentioned Lou Christie, which is also another a person I was blessed to meet. Actually, another one. I took a pictures with him. We were in Washington, D.C. with Isabella Rossellini, and they said, hey, you're a singer. I sang the anthem. Said, you guys take a picture together. And I was wondering, okay, I know Isabella Rossellini. Who is this gentleman? Why is he on the picture with us? And then I went home and I remember posting on the social media, and all my friends, they were like, you met Lou Christie? I said, thank you for letting me know his name. And then I wrote Lou, and we became friends ever since. He always sends me a Christmas card. He's adorable.
Isn't he? He's the best. And he still sings high.
Oh,
And he still can hit that falsetto note. The same keys. He does Lightning Strike in the same keys. He's an incredible singer. They say singing falsetto makes your voice stronger.
yeah.
And I think it has with Lou, for sure.
But so you too, because in what was this, the song you sang? Everybody think it was a woman, was Jingle Jungle, but was you, right? Is it true?
Well, it was Tony Wine and I. I did the verses like, ever since I met you, I couldn't love you better. I had to do it there because they made the track in the wrong key.
Oh, gosh.
But Tony did the answers. Tony Wine did the answers, sing me, sing me, sing me. She did the sing me's and I did the verses. But you couldn't even tell it was a guy. It was like all falsetto,
Yeah, I always thought it was a girl when I was listening. And then yesterday I was reading your book. I was like, oh no, wait a second, was Ron.
Listen, when you're coming up in the music business, you always have to do everything. If they wanted me to sing like Lou Christie on a demo or the Four Seasons, I had to do it. So I was fortunate that I had a falsetto that stayed with me all those years.
And and you still do, because I saw you perform 2 years ago. I hope when this COVID-19 is over, there's going to be more opportunity for me to come and see you perform and maybe to sing with you. Hey, you sing in my key, so no problem whatsoever. We can sing together, Ron.
I would love to do a duet with you. We'll be at the State Theater, whatever it is, next year. Next summer already is booked.
I know that you mentioned Melanie. Melanie was working on something. He wanted us to do something together, and then COVID-19 happened. So everything is on hold. We will do it in the future. Talking of which, when COVID-19 is over, because I know you have another commitment that you have to go, very important, because it's related to love. So when COVID-19 is over, what is going to be next for you, Ron?
Well, I have a new CD coming out in the fall. It's going to comprise unreleased Archie songs from the Archie TV series, and we're going to do a new cover because it's a lot of animated stuff. So I have a picture of me as an animated guy. Let's see.
Look at that. You are Archie. Come on. Look at that face, that smile. And
that's going to be the cover, pretty sure, with some other stuff done. So we're working on it. Next summer's tour is going to be all booked in 2021 because all the dates that we're supposed to do this year, I'm not sure we're going to be able to make them. They have to check the venues, the people that are buying tickets and stuff. We're not sure it's going to happen, but you have to check the venue. Maybe something will happen with the rescheduled shows. But that's what's happening. New CD, and I'm just going to keep producing and keeping. I have some new people in mind. I can't talk about them yet. I don't want to jinx them, but it's going to be very good so far.
Well, I know the future is bright, right? This is just a little break we had to take, and which was great because otherwise, when would I have had the time to chat with you, Ron, and to get to have everybody know better how fantastic you are? It's COVID-19. We needed a break. That's been our break, right?
Yes, and I will be back to Las Vegas for sure. I want a little shout out to my friend Kathy Spihar over at the Cannery, and I want to say hello to Mark Wayman, who are two good friends, close friends, but you probably know them all. And they've been very supportive of everything I've ever done and always make sure they come to see me and they help book me when I get to Vegas. So I want to say hello to them. And I want to say hello to all the fans out there. Yes. This will pass and the crowds will be back. And I will see you at the show for sure.
I like this positive spirit. I think that's, in my point of view, that's also been the part of the key of your success. You are a joy to be around. You're just, look at you. That smile just made my day. So, Ron, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with us. I mean, I really am looking forward to embrace you for real when this is over. And, you know, you have a friend in Vegas, and I'm always here. And thank you again, and I will answer to all the fans, and I will share the video, and thank you for sharing the video also with your millions of fans. The best of everything. I love you, man. This is a sign for I love you in sign language. We always sign language here, and this is connected. Yes, we are connected. I see you are prepared, Ron. Love you, man. Best of everything. God bless you, man.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Thank you. Is it amazing of what I told you? Sometimes you meet people that you're like, wow. As I told you, I mean, for a second I had no idea who it was, and then suddenly I started to talk to the most nice, humble man, and the man had made American history. I mean, and he still is nice, and I like that he said something that it's been something that has been in my way of seeing life. In Dutch, they have an expression. They say, when you think you have arrived, you're finished, which is true. So you have to keep reinventing yourself, thinking you are never the best way you can be. We always have to see for a new way. So I know many of us has been struggling. I'm talking about myself. No gigs, no incomes whatsoever. But hey, we have to reinvent ourselves and see, maybe, hey, wait a second, this is not that bad. Maybe I can do something else. Now, it's been the way for me. I've been with you for 98 days. I reconnected with so many friends and people I had never time for. And with all of you, my circle of love. I see you all there. I see Janet Sessa. She sent me an email this morning, by the way, that I will answer to you, Janet, about some issues she had with the space about the tickets. I hope you are not having the same problem Janet had about the timing. So Janet, I will make sure that I will promptly respond to you. JJ will take care of it. And guys, talking of which, so no concert in the theaters with an audience for a long time, but nevertheless, June 26th, I will be singing for you. I'm gonna be going to the space in Las Vegas together with a dear friend and amazing singer Daniel Emmett. 2 live show, live streaming, pay-per-view. Bless you, JJ, sneezing. And one is at noon and the other one is at 6 p.m. PST time, which is, of course, for you guys, 3 p.m. in New York City and 9 p.m. At night. Make your own calculations. I know many of you have bought tickets for both show, and I really want to thank you for that. Many of you have been amazing, sharing the video, sharing the things with all your friends, and please continue to do so, to share the news about this. It's going to be like an international night because we can reach with the live streaming people all over the world. So please continue to share the news with all your friends and family and all the people you love. So let's make the circle of love even bigger than that. So without further ado, today it's also an important day because we have to do also the birthday at the events of the day. I'm sure many of you are expecting. So I see a lot of people watching new. Oh, JJ moved the thing here. So guys, this is Giada Valenti from Las Vegas. And I'm going live for you every day. I have to repeat this because sometimes there are people, you know, live streaming, they just see something. It's, wait a second, who is she? So, Giada Valenti here in Las Vegas, Giada Live for 98 days non-stop. And in 2 days, we're going to be celebrating the 100th anniversary. I don't know what is happening today, but please stay tuned and don't miss my guest of tomorrow because you're gonna love him too. Steve Solomon, comedian, amazing man, funny man, actually very serious man because you know comedy comes from drama. There he is. He's a very intense man. You're gonna love Steve. Still is a dear friend. His comedy, of course, there was on Broadway for the longest time. Is my mother is Italian, my father is Jewish, and I am in therapy. Then you know where he's going with his comedy. Amazing things. So. Without further ado, birthday and events of the day. Let me start with a very personal one. I hope she's watching. My BFF, leader Olivia in Pittsburgh. She's turning 10 years old. I have a long history with Olivia because actually you see the picture in the middle? That's me and Olivia when she was just a couple of months old in Pittsburgh. I'm wearing, you see, the gold and black things of Pittsburgh. And I gave Olivia her first ice cream that day. It was after one of my concerts. And there she's with my dear friends Karen and Sophie, Grandpa and Grandma. And go back to the picture. And she's carrying all these all-access passes because Olivia, she's been to all my concerts. So little Olivia is turning today. That's in Pittsburgh, actually. And look at her. Then she was little, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Now she's 10 years old today. So happy birthday. This is the happy birthday to you, dear Olivia. Dear Giada loves you. She called me hands, Giada. I love you. And Olivia, she's becoming a ballerina. I'm very proud of you. Nonna, Grandma always send me pictures of you. So happy birthday, my little girl. And I hope Grandma will make you watch the concert next Friday. You're going to love it. And I see if I can sneak in a kiss for you during the concert. So happy birthday, my beautiful Olivia, and keep growing up to being a beautiful little girl that you are. I'm very proud of you. So after that, let's go to the events in history. June 23, thanks to our dear friend Doug Hartline. We start back in 1775 when the first regatta was held on the River Thames, Tamigi in Italiano, in England, and occurs on this day, something that will become an annual event. Something similar we have in Venice, of course, my own city of Venice, La Regata Storica. So in 1810, John Jacob Astor, JJ, you see, John Jacob Astor, organizes the Pacific Fur Company in Astoria, Oregon. Making a small fortune on this, he began to invest in real estate in New York City and became the first multimillionaire in the United States in the 1830s and 40s, and made a fortune built in fur trade and selling opium to China. I lived for 9 years in Astoria, so Astoria, New York, of course, not Astoria in Oregon, and Astoria, Queens, and I found out that the name Astoria came from John Jacob Astor, who bought Astoria for an investment of $500. He never set foot on Astoria, but he bought Astoria, and they changed his name for $500, which was considered at the time the second best investment and best deal ever, because the first one is considered the one that the Dutch made when they bought Manhattan for a total nowadays of 1,050 cents. They bought Manhattan. So he bought Astoria for $500. In 1819, the first edition of the Sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon Ghent by Washington Irving is released and features the famous stories of Rip Van Winkle and the Headless Horseman. I don't know nothing of this, but I know from Doug that this represents one of the first widely read works of American literature in Britain and Europe. Irving also wrote successfully historical works, including biography and a namesake like George Washington and Muhammad. So in 1902, the monuments for the composer Gioacchino Rossini, we'll go back to Italy for a second, is unveiled in Santa Croce, Florence. I've been there, it's beautiful. While most America aren't familiar with the name, of course, we may know the music, Il Barbiere di Siviglia, the Barber of Sevilla, if you're into operatic music. So, 1955, Walt Disney's full-length cartoon Lady and the Tramp is released in the same year, and it opens in Disneyland. I love that. It's known for featuring many beautiful songs, and one of them is Peggy Lee, Bella Notte. I love that one. So in 1967, we go back to 1900. For sport fans, Jim Ruin set the mile records that held for decades at the junior college track in Bakersfield, California, where Doug went to school for 3:51.1. This is the same track where Doug ran his first mile, and when he met Susie, so he think he couldn't run as fast as him, but he said, I want Susie over. You're right, you want love, so you are the winner, Doug. And in 2004, Bob Dylan accepted honorary doctorate of music degree from the university at St. Andrews, Scotland's oldest university. I agree with you, he doesn't look so happy on that picture. But the other guy is smiling though, funny picture. And in 2014, Claude Monet's The Water Lilies is sold at an auction for $54 million. That painting must be very big. Is it big painting, JJ? For $54 million? Okay, lucky the one who bought it. Birthday of the day, beside our Olivia, today in 1668, Olivia, the same day you were born, in 1668, Giovan Battista Vico, an Italian philosopher and historian, is born in Naples, Italy. At the time was part of the Kingdom of Naples. He's famous for his book Scienza Nuova, New Science, which systematically organized the humanities into a single science and explained the historical circle by which society rise and fall. Universities around the world today still group humanities as a unified program because of his work. I didn't know that. Nice to know that. 1912, Alan Turing, a British mathematician and computer scientist pioneer, the Turing machine, is born in London, England. The movie about his famous work to create a computer where none had existed to crack the Nazi codes during World War II is nominated for an Oscar for Best Pictures and is called The Imitation Game. If you have not seen it, I suggest you watch it. It's a beautiful, beautiful movie. And in 1927, and I think it's on Netflix, so it's called The Imitation Game. And in 1927, Bob Fosse, one of the most famous choreographers of the 20th century, was born in Chicago, Illinois. He directed and choreographed such musicals as Pajama Game, Chicago, Cabaret, and Damn Yankees. He's the only person to ever won an Oscar and an Emmy and a Tony Award in the same year. There is what his wife, Gwen Verdon, from whom he choreographed much of his work and who served as a guardian of his legacy after his death. And of course, he died in her hands, talking about true love. And Doug was wondering, have you heard ever of jazz hands? Yes, I did. So it came from Fosse. That's the jazz hands. Thank you for that. And if Jim Caruso is watching, Jim Caruso always had the jazz hands. He comes from Bob Fosse. And in 1929, June Carter Cash was born in Macy's Springs, Virginia. She played guitar, banjo, harmonica, and alto harp. I didn't even know. As well, she sang and won 5 Grammy Awards. She was ranked 31 in country music list of the top 40 greatest women in country music, and her marriage with Johnny Cash was told in the movie Walk the Line, which is a beautiful movie with Reese Witherspoon, and won an Oscar. She won an Oscar actually for playing June herself. And in 1956, Randy Jackson is born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and turns today 64 years young. Of course, he's very famous as a bassist and singer and record producer, but we all know him as a judge on American Idol. And in 1972, Doug, I had this one myself. Selma Blair was born in Southfield, Michigan, and turns today 48 years old. I got the chance to meet her, and she's an amazing woman. She's best known for a film like Legally Blonde and Cruelly Intentioned. And in 2010, she also was the voice of The Diary of a Young Girl, the definitive edition of Anna Frank story, that also won her a Grammy for award Best Spoken album for children nomination. Blair, of course, Salma suffers of multiple sclerosis, and which we know is an incurable disease. So she walks with a cane and she cannot talk very well anymore. But I got to meet her at the same event I met Michael J. Fox, and she's an amazing woman. I adore her. So happy birthday to Salma. And today in 1977, I know there are many fans out there loving him. Jason Mraz is born in Mechanicsville, Virginia, and turns today 43 years old. Doug said his favorite song is Lucky Me. I have to say that I like I'm Yours and 93 Million Miles. Last birthday of the day. I also had it myself because I just love her. 1980, Melissa Ivy Runch, American actress best known for playing Bernadette Wolowitz on the sitcom The Big Bang Theory, which I do love very much, was born today in Marlboro Township, New Jersey, and she turns 40 years old. She's small, she has like a Mickey Mouse voice, and I just love her. So these were the birthday and events of the day. My guest was Ron Dante. I see a lot of comments of you, JJ. Anything I need to be aware of? Thanks for Livy's birthday, Karen Gianni. He's saying, you know, I love Livy, and I love you, Karen, because you have been the person who inspired Livy to love music, because I know she loves my versions of the Carpenters. She goes on YouTube, Livy, already when she was 5, 6, 7 years old, and she plays her friends Zia Giada music. She doesn't know their songs of the Carpenters, the Beatles, the Doors. And one day Karen played the real version of Karen Carpenter's, and she said, oh, I like Giada's version much more. So she's my kind of girl. Love you, Livy. And Tomorrow, Steve Solomon is going to be my guest. Please continue to share all the video, to like the YouTube page. This is the sign for YouTube. Bring all your friends and family to YouTube. Watch all the old episodes of Giada.life. 2 days more, and we're going to be celebrating the 100th episode with the Circle of Love. And then Friday, of course, there's going to be the 2 concerts with Daniel Emmett, which you are still on time to buy tickets. You have to go to the spacelv.com. Then now it's easier than when you, Janet, bought a ticket, because the first 2 concerts, they come there, is me and Daniel. One is at noon and one is at 3. So buy them both, and you're going to have 24 hours the time to watch the episode, should you not have time to watch it live with us. Guys, I love you. We are all connected, friends and family. I'm going to see you tomorrow here in Las Vegas with Steve Solomon as my special guest. Ci vediamo domani, and I'm going to answer all your comments. Grazie di cuore. A domani. Giada here from Las Vegas.
Hey everybody, Daniel Emmett here from America's Got Talent.
And Giada Valenti from the PBS special From Venice with Love.
We are so excited to be coming live to you from Las Vegas on Friday, June 26th with our concert, Close to You.
We will be doing 2 live streaming concerts.
That's
the
right.
first one at what time?
First one is at noon Pacific, so that's 3 p.m. Eastern for you East Coasters out there.
And the second?
6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And both shows are going to be completely live. To get your pay-per-view tickets for these live stream concerts, make sure you visit www.thespacelv.com.
They don't have to worry if they purchase the tickets in advance and then they can watch, because...
That's right. Even if you purchase a ticket but you can't join us right at noon Pacific or 6 p.m. Pacific, you will have 24 hours to use your live stream ticket. You can watch it anywhere. On your phone, on your computer, in your backyard, in your living room, wherever you want. We get to be close to you on Friday, June 26th, and we cannot wait.
Oh, sure. And they can watch from wherever they are in the world.
Absolutely. Anywhere you are in the world, we get to be close to you. Can't wait. We'll see you soon.
Dankeschön, dear old Dankeschön. Thank you for seeing me again. Though I'm here in my solitude, I know you are there, and in my heart I smile again. And so I sing here in my solitude, waiting to see you, same time, same place, and I can't wait to say again, Dankeschön, 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 dear old Auf Wiedersehen. See you tomorrow. A domani.